What's up guys, it's Finners here from Talking Wolves. I just want to quickly set the scene for you before we get into this. Aston Villa, it's mid-June. Aston Villa have already paid the same amount of money for Jack Butland and Brazilian striker Wesley than Wolves spent on Willy Bolly, Diogo Jota, Ruben Neves and João Moutinho combined. Now there's two things I want to take from that. One, Villa are actually getting pretty active, to be fair, aren't they? We need to catch up. There's two signings in already. But two, it shows how much value for money Wolves have had so far in the players that they've bought and the incredible scouting. The scouting has been unbelievable so far. And we've got to say, no matter how much has been said, it has been helped by that little black book of Jorge Mendes. His recruitment's been brilliant. The players he's brought in for us have been brilliant. I'm going to give you 5 Portuguese talents, youngsters, targets that Wolves should go for this summer. So I'm just going to get on the phone to Jorge Mendes as well as a costume change. Back in a second. That's better, isn't it? Right, summon the Portuguese overlords now. Send me some good players. So before we get into this list of the 5 players that I've created, one honourable mention, purely just because I think it's way too realistic to include it as way too unrealistic even to include it as one of the 5, is Bruno Fernandez. I think he'll be off to a Man City, Barcelona, someone like that. Had an unbelievable season for Sporting Lisbon. But he's also a little bit older than the people that I've got down, and also quite unrealistic. I think he'll be going 70, 80 million pounds this summer. So yeah, he's not in the list, but if it happens, I told you so. Brilliant player. So yeah, I just mentioned unrealistic. Number 1 is João Felix. I felt like I had to put him in. Obviously, when I'm saying Man City, Barcelona for Bruno Fernandez, he's got to be up there as well. £120 million rumoured release clause. It's ridiculous. Way out of Wolves' level, our record. That would smash our transfer record by 4 times. Like 4 times our transfer record. So it's not going to happen, but he's 19. He's unbelievable. He'd fit our system so well, almost like a Jota reincarnation. And in those games, I'm talking about it now as if it's going to happen, but in those games where we come up against the harder teams to break down, the teams lower down the table, if you could stick with this same formation, almost have one as an attacking midfielder in Jota or Felix and have the other one up front, it just really, really helping breaking those lines, breaking teams down. A lot of people have mentioned that idea of Jota going into a sort of behind the strikers role and then buying another striker to go up alongside Jimenez. It could work in those sorts of games. In the bigger games, I think it will work with the Dendoncker, Moutinho, Neves, or if we sign any others, but proper midfielders in there. But yeah, get João Felix in and you never know. So this one now is a little bit more realistic, a little bit more on budget as well. I've gone for Raphael Lee. Now he's a player that I've, to be honest, found from FIFA. He had a Future Stars card, which is a card that EA predict the player's going to get really good in the future, if you know what I mean. So Phil Foden had one at his potential rating of 88. Ruben Neves, interestingly, didn't get one, but this Portuguese youngster Raphael Lee did. So read into that what you will. He's currently at Lyon. They've had an unbelievable season. Not Lyon, sorry, Lille. That's the one. French team beginning with an L. He's currently at Lille. Didn't play too much, I don't think, but he's one of the players that joined our mate Patricio in leaving Sporting. I think from what I've seen online, Sporting fans aren't a fan of him. He was 18, one of their brightest talents, and he left on a free after the whole fights and all that. So who can blame him, really? I mean, he was attacked at his place of work. I think I'd be putting in a transfer request as well. But yeah, he left alongside Patricio for a free. Leo managed to snap him up. And I think he scored 10 goals this season. It was 8 to 10 goals. I probably should have researched that a little bit better. But he's 19, striker, very tall, 4-star skills for all you FIFA players out there. So I'm absolutely loving him. Him and Jota up front. It's been brilliant. So talking about that, maybe he could be the Jimenez and the Leao up front and Jota plays behind. I don't know. But a brilliant striker, 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot. So I'll take him on FIFA any day. But yeah, maybe Wolves could take him away. From what I've read online, seems like a little bit of a selfish player. Maybe not all there attitude-wise, which you don't want to risk in the dressing room. But maybe that's just jealous Sporting fans saying online, or like trying to make it better in their own heads that he's left for free, if you know what I mean. But I'd love to get him in. Absolutely love to play with him on FIFA, as I said. And on the bright side as well, if Cavalera leaves, you need to have a look at this guy. They are literally spitting image of each other. So Cavalera could leave and like Vinagre would walk in the morning, say hello, thinking it was Cav, to be fair. If Cav does leave, which I really hope doesn't happen, but he could be a very suitable replacement, can play on the wing as well and striker. So very similar to Cav as well as looking a lot like him. I don't know the figure that it would take to take him away from Lille. They're really going to have their assets stripped this season. I think Pepe's definitely going to go. I think it's Thiago Mendes in midfield, had a brilliant season. Are they going to move on? I remember that's where Hazard was from, wasn't it? They never seem to be able to keep their top players. They'll leave if they have a good season. So we'll see. If they're all leaving, all jumping ship, then hopefully Wolves can catch Raphael Lee. So the third one, a bloke you may have heard of. We may have thought we were signing him like the last 7 summers. It is Andre Silva. Him and Talisca are basically always going to be signing for Wolves every summer, every winter. It's unbelievable. January window, the summer window, Andre Silva pops up every time. He's a Mendes client. He's a Portuguese striker. He's young. I think it's going to happen eventually. I really, really do. He was unbelievable at Porto. Who was his manager then? Anyone know who it was? It was Nuno. Nuno got the best out of him. He's then moved on to arguably bigger and better things and hasn't done as well. I think he went to AC Milan and was pretty much a flop. And then he's gone on loan to Sevilla, I think it was. I think he scored against Barcelona or Real Madrid early on in the season. And I'd say probably sloped off a bit. Haven't heard as much about him since then, but yeah, we know the talent's there. If he could link up with Nuno again, I think it could work wonders. Jota and Andre Silva actually played together in that season as well. Before Jota came to us, Silva went to AC Milan, so it's reuniting one of those Porto players that the recruitment of those players has been unbelievable for Wolves. We've taken Bolly out of that team, Jota, Neves, and they've all been relatively cheap. I think with Andre Silva not being great the last few years, we'll be able to get him a little bit cheaper as well. And they've all worked with Nuno before. They understand him. They're Portuguese. Well, they're all Portuguese, to be fair, on this list. That doesn't really single him out. But yeah, I think he'd be a brilliant signing. If we get him a little bit cheaper, he's very, very young still. He gets one good season in the Premier League, you sell him for 3 times more. So I think he could do it. I do back him. Again, 4-star skills on FIFA for any of you out there. So I'd love to sign him, see him in gold and black on FIFA. But yeah, Andre Silva. I'm sure you've all heard about him. I don't want to talk about him too much, but there is my number 3. Number 4 will be someone you will recognise if you have been watching the Nations League. It's the match winner, the tournament winner. Arguably, Ronaldo probably went home crying, wishing he was Goncalo Guedes, as he got the goal for Portugal to win the Nations League. He's a winger. I think he's currently at Valencia. Had a good Europa League campaign. I'm not sure he did as well in the league, but I'm sure he got in the I saw he got in the team in the group stage for the Europa League. Portuguese winger, tricky, pacey. I think he can play up front as well, which would be one of the vital things, because as you know, Wolves seem to have abandoned this wingers thing unless he was playing wing back, which I really doubt that. Very attacking minded, quite selfish as well, if you saw in the Nations League as well. Seems like Ronaldo with a little bit less ability. So I mean, beggars can't be choosers, can they? We haven't signed anyone yet. I'd take a little bit less than Ronaldo. I'd take him any day. Wolves have been rumoured to get him before. Goncalo Guedes, obviously he's Portuguese, so we're going to have our name chucked in that sort of area every time. I don't know if the Valencia want to sell, to be fair. Seems like he's been all right this season. But, you know, Jorge Mendes is there. Anything can happen. I'd really love to get him in. One of Portugal's rising stars, but almost at that level now. Not sort of at the level of Felix and Leao. They're sort of, well, until the Nations League, Felix hadn't played for Portugal. Leao, I don't think, has either. He's still in the lower levels. I think he's actually in Vinagre's level. He plays at under 20s now, I think it is, with Vinagre. I see they have a bit of banter on Twitter. But anyway, we're talking about Goncalo Guedes. Left winger predominantly, can play up front, would suit either of the styles that Wolves go for, obviously the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2. Again, could be a player to unlock Jota to go further back and drive from deep against the teams lower down the table. We'll see. All of these I seem to have said that, to be fair. So yeah, Goncalo Guedes, number 4. Let's get him in. Why not? And to finish off the list, maybe someone finally that you haven't actually heard of. Maybe I'm actually coming up with someone surprising here. If you follow Talking Wolves on Twitter, you will have seen we did report this earlier on in the season. It's Gedson Fernandez. Now, a bowler linked us with him. Again, it was probably just, he's Portuguese, he might leave. Chuck Wolves in the hat. Wolves rumoured to be interested in him, but at the time they were saying 40 million would take him. And for a very, very unproven teenager like he is, I think he's a teenager, isn't he? Let me just double check He is 20 years old, just about not a teenager. So yeah, 20 years old. Wolves are rumoured to get him for about 40 million. I think Tottenham are now interested, and it's come out that his release clause is 102 million. Portuguese midfielder. That is a lot of money. We know Benfica. Yeah, he's at Benfica, if I didn't mention. Benfica aren't messing about with their release clauses nowadays. They've had too many players leave for cheap. João Felix with his 120, and now Gedson Fernandez. Midfielder, it's the first one really in here. A lot of them have been attacking. João Felix sort of developed from attacking midfield to striker, but he is a proper midfielder. Seems like he's got a real engine on him as well. I think he's a little bit smaller. I'm just going to have to double check that as well. 1.8 metres, so 5'11". Not too bad then. I thought it was a little bit smaller than that looking at photos. But I think, yeah, box-to-box midfielder. I think we could do the other midfielders, to be fair. If you take Neves or maybe Matinho out of there, it starts to look a little bit weak. It's then Sace coming in, and after that, there's not much backup. Maybe Morgan Gibbs-White. So I'd take him all day long. I definitely wouldn't pay 102 million for him. But if we can maybe bring that down, I think Tottenham's initial bid was 39 million pounds. So let's just put in a cheeky 40, see what happens. And yeah, he's number 5 on the list. I'd really love to get him in. So guys, that is my list of the top 5 Portuguese talents Wolves should be keeping an eye on, and maybe even sign, who knows. If you've got any other Portuguese players you've been keeping your eye on, get them down in the comments, let me know. There's definitely a few out there. I was maybe thinking João Cancelo doesn't seem too happy at Juventus. New manager going in there in Sarri. Maybe we could get him out. I'm quite happy with Doherty at right wing back at the moment, but you know, Cancelo would be great as well. Maybe Ronaldo as well. Chuck him in. Take both the Juventus Portuguese players. But yeah, if you've got any others, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of these 5. Would you take any of these 5? Have you had a look at Raphael Lee, and does he look the spitting image of Ivan Cavalera? Let me know anything. Make sure you leave a like on the video as well. Make sure you subscribe to Talking Wolves for more videos like this. When there's actually concrete rumours on these players, which I hope there is, we'll be first to report them on Twitter and on YouTube. So make sure you're following everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe to me if you want. Finners on YouTube, and yeah, and Twitter as well. I do have other social medias. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.